On today's show, Mayor Craig Thurmond joins us to share about the importance of casting a vision and relentlessly pursuing it to completion. On today's show, the mayor of one of America's fastest growing cities, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, shares why you have to write down your vision. Relentlessly drive the vision to completion. You must bring passion to the project while staying focused, and why you just can't quit until you get there.
Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top. Teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C&Z up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to
Yes, 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 and yes. Dr. Z, it is ecstasy when you are next to me. And on today's show, we have Mayor Craig Thurmond right here inside the studio.
No,
here in the studio.
No, we don't. We got the boss. We got the man. We got the guy that can make things happen. We got the fella. We got the dude, the man.
The guy who's right here.
The guy that's he's also a lumberjack, and I got proof of that right here. He's in a flannel shirt. He'll come chop down a tree for you.
He's a man of the people.
He'll bring you a rack of wood just because he's a good guy.
I want to.
He'll make stuff. He'll make you a deal you can't say no to.
Mayor Craig, as the guy, quote unquote. How long have you lived in Broken Arrow, sir?
The second time I moved back in 92.
92.
Yeah, I was out in Southern California. I moved back here. I lived here originally in 77 for a couple years whenever I got out of the Marine Corps.
I want to talk today about the importance of casting the vision. That's what I want to focus on. I want to obsess on it.
I like vision.
I want to dwell on this.
I'm a vision kind of guy.
Because, we've talked about it. It's a proverbial idea where there is no vision, the people perish. I found in cities, by and large, not always, and there's a lot of great cities, but by and large, there's not a vision. And so I remember growing up in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and I remember our downtown didn't have a plan. And we had shopping centers that were, I would call them regrettable. And maybe you could help me understand it. But it's where you build a shopping center that has, it's an L, so it's going like this, but it goes like this, and the road is down here, but the shopping center goes this way. So you can't see. So you've seen these shopping centers. They're always vacant. There's no plan. There's no theme. There's no vision. There's no speakers outside. There's no walkable dining, no entertainment, no retail. There's
always a Korean nail salon in it, though.
Yeah,
that's always
that's never going to go away, and you're willing to look for that.
Oh, yeah.
But then there's nothing else, and you see this land that was just kind of sitting. Now you see a Warren Theater, a beautiful place to take your family. You have the wonderful downtown Broken Arrow. So I want to tap into your mindset and your vision for Broken Arrow, and I would like for you, if you can, because I know you're a humble guy, but I'd like for you to take credit for the things you did, because I think a lot of people don't know what you did, and you're a humble guy and you don't brag about it all the time. So can you walk us through the changes that you've seen and kind of your vision for Broken Arrow? What is your vision? I guess let's start with that. What's your vision for Broken Arrow, and what changes have you actually seen happen?
Well, I think my vision is to make Broken Arrow the best place to live, best place to raise your family, best place, safest place to be, good quality of life, and have the services there that you want. So it started in 2005 with Bass Pro, which was a very tough deal to try and get that to happen. But we got Bass Pro here. That kind of started everything. And then from there, we started doing other things as far as the Target in North Broken Arrow and certain things. And then Warren Theater. I was just looking back at some of the time. We spent 6 years working on Warren Theater.
6 years?
6 years,
wow.
Meeting with Bill Warren, trying to sell Broken Arrow to Bill Warren. And then, it took 7 years to bring Stony Creek. We went to Iowa and met with the owner of Stony Creek, with Jim Thompson, to bring the conference center and hotel that's in North Broken Arrow right now.
It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, it is.
They have a great bar that on Wednesday nights, it turns out it's empty.
Really?
I take my wife there. Seriously, there's a bar down there that it's gorgeous, and it's kind of like it feels like a ski lodge.
Yes,
it's kind of the vibe.
Wild Buffalo Lounge.
It's super cool.
Really?
Have you been there?
No, I haven't. I'll have to check it out. I'll go
beautiful.
to Wednesday with you and Vanessa.
You should.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great. It's really great. I mean, it's Broken Arrow. How long have you been the mayor of Broken Arrow, sir?
I've been the mayor for 8 years. Been
8 years.
Been on the council since 2001, though, so for 19 years.
So I have 5 points I want to hammer today, and you feel free to hammer home any point you want to as well, but I have 5 I want to talk about. 1, I see a lot of people that cast a vision. Charles, I'm sure you've seen this with Co-Law Fitness. You've seen other business people. They cast a vision. What is your vision for Co-Law Fitness, by the way?
50 clubs in the next 10 years, and we're on our way.
But you don't really deviate from that. What's
Clubs.
No,
So-
I've got. Yeah, we're on track. Every quarter we're tracking.
What's your vision for your marriage?
To never change wives and stay where I'm at,
What's your vision for your gyms?
make Jesus famous and change lives.
So every time I see Charles, I've talked to him for 3 consecutive years, and he says, "I want to make Jesus famous, open up 50 clubs." And you have a thing you do. It's Dr. Z. Every time I talk to you, you always you love to sell people goods and services. But you're like at your optometry clinic, your vision has always been, I believe, to make eye care affordable.
To bring value. And on the Make Jesus Famous theme, I think about leaving up my Christmas tree all year long now because Jesus is kind of a big deal.
Why
so
don't
I
you
thought,
do that? That's a move.
That's a move.
That's a move.
Also had a quick question for the mayor. Your headline front page on a Hispanic themed paper from Broken Arrow. Can you and will you sing La Bamba on air? Can you? Are you able to sing La Bamba for us today?
You do not want to hear me sing.
Oh, that's La Bamba. Well, that doesn't keep us from singing.
So you've had this vision. So I want to start with point 1 is when you have a vision, why do you have to write it down? It's a biblical idea as well. Put it on the tablet, Why do you, when you have the vision, why do you have to actually articulate the vision? When you took over, 8 years ago, why do you have to actually take the time to write it down? Why can't it just be mushy and floating around in your brain somewhere?
Well, I think you have to keep looking at that vision to accomplish it. You've got to see it. You've got to see what you're going to do. So that's how we focus on a lot of different things. You've got to have a plan. You've got to focus and keep doing that plan. So that's why I believe you need to write things down.
Step 2. You have to talk about the vision until you almost get nauseated.
Yes.
You have to keep talking about it, and when you get tired of it, Jack Welch, you love Jack Welch, I do too.
My favorite.
Jack Welch talks about it in the book.
Winning.
There's winning, but the one, it was straight from the gut, which is his ascendancy to the CEO position. He says it in Winning, though, too. But in that book, straight from the gut, he's talking about how do you know when your people really know the vision? It's when you ask them, hey, what's the vision? And they know.
And they know. Yeah.
It seems so difficult.
But he says, this is when I was reading it, and I'm like, obviously, Jack. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm reading the book, but when you read, there's an inner dialogue where I'm like, wow, this guy's a genius. I mean, you're kind of like, well, I better wrap up this book pretty quick. I mean, it's a big book. And then he says, do your people know go ask your people, do they know the vision?
Did they know the vision?
And when I built DJconnection.com, I remember putting the book down, going into the office. Guys, what's the vision for the business? To sell weddings, packages, brides.
DJ all night.
It's to take every event from ordinary to extraordinary. No bride left behind, homies. And they're like,
what?
What's the vision again?
That rhymes.
And I'm going, so we would say it all the time. And I go back to Jack Welch's book, and he's saying, you got to just keep saying it, obsessing it, talking about it until you are almost physically nauseated about it. And then once you get to a level where you don't want to say it anymore, say it again. End sentences with it. Start meetings with it. Put it on the letterhead. Put it on all the paper. Put it on your agendas. Put it on your business card. Put it on the wall. Actually, paint it on walls. Talk to me about this, your vision for Broken Arrow. People had to think you were nuts when you talked about bringing Bass Pro Shop to Broken Arrow. People had to think you're nuts because that area over there is cool now. You got Los Cabos. You got Bass Pro Shop. It's a really cool place.
Oklahoma Joe's right around the corner there.
It's a cool place.
Cool.
I'm going to look it up real quick. I'm going to look at the Bass Pro Shop candle so that all the listeners can see it. Bass Pro Shop. Broken Arrow. I'm going to do the Google map game so that we can see.
I remember when
it.
you had to drive all the way to Missouri, Springfield, to go to Bass Pro Shop.
People had to think you're nuts. Now, here's the thing. Again, you've had to articulate this over and over and over again. Did people think that you were a nut job when you talked about bringing the Bass Pro Shop to Broken Arrow?
Didn't even have a street there, so people really thought that was bizarre. You couldn't even get through there. There wasn't even a street in front of Bass Pro. And I remember in a city meeting, someone saying, well, I don't think we can afford to do this. And my statement was, we can't afford not to do this. We've got to do this. This is how we're going to get our city going. And it really has been one of the key catalysts to get us started.
Now, if you look over here to the right, there's a lot of construction here all the time, stuff going on. And I believe this is where the hotel you were referring to is located. I think this is where it's located now. And that was called the what hotel? The
Stony Creek.
Yeah, the outdoor decor got me there. I just there it is. There we go. There it is. And right here is the.
Oh yeah, I've seen it from the outside. I've just never been in it.
Oh, it's a swanky place. They got a nice pool over here. Yeah, I got arrested there. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so I love this place. It's a great place. But somebody had to think you're nuts. Who? I mean, don't mention their names. But I mean, did people tell you you're nuts? You just said somebody told you we can't afford it. What other feedback and opposition have you run into?
Well, I think that a lot of people think that we're trying to do too much. And
too much.
And the reality is that we're not doing enough. We need to do more and more and more. So that's, as far as saying who said that, but we always have detractors that don't agree with what we're doing.
Have a lot of people said this to you, that you're nuts?
No, not a lot.
Most
people don't say things to your face, though. Now, maybe on my Facebook page, yeah.
Okay. So
the trolls. Trolls will always post whatever.
Here's the notable quotable. The notable quotable is this. Good business leaders create a vision, articulate the vision, passionately own the vision, and relentlessly drive it to completion. That's Captain Jack Welch. Charles, have people ever said to you and your wife that your vision is nuts? And first off,
hey, I got a great example.
When you wanted to marry her, did people think you were nuts? You outkicked your coverage?
Yes.
It's not going to happen, Charles.
She will never. No, she will shut you down every time.
So after you tricked her, you do anything was possible.
I did. I just lied and just whatever I had to do.
You did whatever you had to do.
No, I've got a great example.
Yeah, sure.
So, okay, when we're going in to do the Joplin location, we have meetings with the city to get, you're a city, or you've done stuff with the city. And so I'm coming in there and I'm telling them what we're doing. We're already, bought the land. We're building the building. We're just getting all this finalized stuff with the city. And they're like, yeah, I really don't think you should bring a gym here. Like, we got enough gyms here. Like, we don't want you here, basically is what they said. And so I'm going through like, well, thanks for the warm welcome to your city. We just brought
I'm spending money
$2 million worth of work here and jobs.
I'm going to hire
for
all
the
these
next
people.
20, 30 years,
Sure.
And so, but it was just really odd. I left. I was like, wow, that was really not a warm welcome. And here we are, like voted the number one year after year after year, fitness center, and people love us. So it's just like, wow. So there is some definite opposition sometimes you have in a city like that.
So I'm going to cue up this is Steve Jobs talking to the Cupertino City Council. Mm-hmm. Do you ever have to talk to the city council?
I'm the chairman of the city council.
Do you have to talk to yourself?
I talk to everybody. Yes.
Okay, so let me cue this up. I don't think a lot of people have ever seen what it looks like or feels like to be in a city council presentation. Here's Steve Jobs. Okay, let me cue it up here.
Thank you. Apple's growing like a weed. And as you know, we've always been in Cupertino. Started in a little office park and eventually got the buildings we are in now at the corner of Deanza and 280. But and those buildings hold maybe 2,600 people, 2,800 people. But we've got almost 12,000 people in the area. So we're renting buildings, not very good buildings either, at an ever greater radius from our campus. And we're putting people in those. And it's clear that we need to build a new campus. So we're just out of space. And that doesn't mean we don't need the one we've got. We do need it. But we need another one to augment it. And so we've got a plan that lets us stay in Cupertino.
Now, let me cue ahead here. This is the building he wanted to build. There it is. This is what he wanted to build. And he's been wrestling with Cupertino for like a decade. So this is what the city council has to say to him.
Lube, you have a T-shirt that says the mothership has landed, and if you look at this picture, definitely the mothership has landed here in Cupertino. Mm-hmm. Is there any questions or comments from my council colleagues? Councilman Wang?
Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Quick question. I think people are curious as to know what this city residents can benefit from this new campus.
Oh my goodness.
Well, as you know, we're the largest taxpayer in Cupertino. So we'd like to continue to stay here and pay taxes. That's number one.
Okay.
Duh.
Because if we can't, then we have to go somewhere like Mountain View, and we take our current people with us, and we give up, and over years sell the land here, and the largest tax base would go away. That wouldn't be good for Cupertino, and
No, of course
wouldn't be
not.
good for us either. So that's number one. And number two, we employ some really talented, great people, and across the whole
Here's another
age
deep
spectrum.
question.
As a 35-year HP employee, most of it on the Cupertino campus in those
wow.
buildings there. Obviously felt sorry when I heard that they were consolidating and moving. But
Yeah.
now that we've seen your plans, the word spectacular would be an understatement. And I think that everybody's going to appreciate what clearly is going to be the most elegant headquarters, at least in the U.S. that I've seen. So we definitely appreciate the work that's gone into it and look forward to working with you to move it through the process.
Thank you. I think we do have a shot of building the best office building in the world. And I really do think architecture students will come here to see this. I think it could be that good. So, but
Yep, appreciate it.
yeah, thank you.
Councilmember Chang?
Yeah, Mr. Job, thank you very much
Look
for
at that.
coming.
Look
We
at that
met,
building.
The city manager and I met Mr. Cook and Mr. Oppenmeyer and then also Terry at your campus and see this the concept. It's a very good one. I do have a question about. At that time, they mentioned about the current Infinity Loop will remain the same. The employee will stay there, right?
Yeah, we need both to hold everybody.
So that one will host about 8,000, 9,000 people.
No.
20.
No, about 2,600.
Oh, 2,600. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this one will host 13,000. Okay.
12,000.
12,000. Okay.
That's our current.
All right. So then my concern is last time I forgot to ask Terry about the safety issue, because you have only one building has so many people there, so all the safety will be put into consideration, like a fire, everything.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we spend.
No, wait a minute. It's like,
a ton of
dude,
time,
we make iPods,
identifying and hiring
iPads,
what we think are the best.
computers, but we haven't thought about where the exits are. So I want to ask you, what is your...
Are you going to put sprinkler system in there? So if fire starts over here,
So
it not spread over
what's
here.
your role in that kind of thing? When a guy, like when Warren Theater is wanting to come to Broken Arrow, did they want to come here? Did you go get them? How does that work?
Well, we went and talked to Bill Warren quite a bit.
You
He's
did?
at Wichita, Kansas, yes. And it's very important that he knew that this was a good community to work in. And it's very important for government to get out of the way of business. It's not for government to say, as they did Charles, say, well, you shouldn't bring that business here. That's your risk. That's your money. It should be up to you to do what you want to do. And if you fail, that's up to you. That's not up to the city to keep you from failing or to protect you from making a bad decision. Hopefully, all businesses are making good decisions. So, and when it comes to the fire code, we have codes and things. And when they get to the design of that building, the fire marshal would look at it and said, well, you got to put this exit. You got to have, either it's got to be sprinkled or it didn't, or it's so small enough it doesn't need to be sprinkled. All that stuff is part of the process, not something you'd ask in a city council meeting. They're going to follow the code because they're not going to build without it. So it's kind of ridiculous for a council to start asking all these questions and saying, what's the benefit for the community? Anytime you have activity in anywhere in the community, it's a benefit for the community. You have a daytime population, you have jobs. It's important that our citizens don't have to leave our community to work. So they need all kinds of jobs. So any kind of business is good for our community. So we support all businesses here.
I want to share something with you that's really, really crazy. George Lucas in 1978, he bought a property north of San Francisco in 1978, a 4,700-acre ranch. And his vision was to take that and to turn it into a studio. Now, this area was just absolutely, nothing was there. And he wanted to turn it into a place where he could actually have all of his employees work there. And that was going to be where THX Sound was, Lucas Films, and he was wanting to develop it. From 1978 all the way until he sold the Star Wars series to Disney, He was trying to get council improvement to do it. And so they told him, you need to plant this many trees. And it was like a barren hill. And he's like, I'll do it. They said, you need to build a pond. I'll do it. You need to. And he just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And finally, and again, if you look up the story, you really invest a lot of time into it. One of his reasons for selling the Star Wars thing to Disney was that he realized it's never going to happen. And he wanted to do this in 1978. I was born in 1980. He fought for over. It's like I think he finally gave up on it in like 2015. I mean that. So I just want to. I want you, if it's okay, I'd like for you to take credit for the things that you did, because people don't know this. So could we give you a mega point for having a role in bringing Bass Pro Shop? Would it have happened if you didn't drive the vision home?
It may not have happened. Yes, that's true.
This is humble speak. See, I'm giving him a mega point.
Yeah. I think yes. I think it's appropriate. He gets
in
a
the
mega
Warren,
point.
you went to get the Warren Theater here. You went to where to go meet?
Wichita, Kansas.
Wichita.
Did they call you first, or did you call them?
We called them.
You did?
Yes.
Did you pick up the phone? Were you dialing and smiling?
I didn't make the first contact, but I did go meet with Bill there and know Bill pretty well. And sad that he sold it, but yeah, we know Bill pretty well.
Do you think that deal would have happened by entropy if you would not have pursued it?
Probably not. No, we had to pursue Bill.
2 mega points.
2 mega points.
Now, the part 3 of this, when you after you write down the vision, then you have to relentlessly drive it home.
Relentlessly.
Over and over. But now and see, by the way, with your auto auction and buying that land and developing that land to expand the auction, have you had to relentlessly drive that vision, or was it easy? Did you just buy the land all of a sudden?
No, there's a corner of it in what they call a flood zone.
Sweet.
And that triggers so many wonderful things with the city, and a lot of extra hoops needs to be jumped through.
How long did it take you to jump through the hoops?
Oh,
weeks. Days?
No. Well,
hours?
a lot of weeks, a lot of days, yes. A lot of minutes, a lot of minutes.
Seconds?
A lot of seconds.
How long?
Probably to jump through those hoops to be able to start building above and beyond. If it wasn't that, was probably added 6 months to the process.
Now let's talk about you buying the land that is now the home of your optometry clinic across from Woodland Hills Mall. And again, I'll pull up the optometry clinic so the folks at home can see it. But if you go to Woodland Hills Mall, it's our most busy mall in the area in Tulsa. It has a lot of traffic. And my understanding is the land that you bought was not for sale, or what was
it? It was under contract.
It was under contract.
It was under contract. And, I was the third contract on it, and the first 2 fell through, one for financing and one for use. And so then I became, they could have re-signed up for more time, but I called the lady that owned it and explained my story and offered a little bit more money, and she said, deal. So sometimes you just have to be relentless in pursuing.
There's your office with your Coleman sign up.
Oh, wow,
there.
that's a pretty old picture then.
That's awesome.
Go around the front, yeah.
I didn't know you were a big fan of the actor Gary Coleman.
Oh, yeah, he and I are close.
You really liked him?
Oh, yeah. He's a great guy.
What was did you like him or Willis more in the...
It's a coin flip.
Okay.
It's a coin flip.
Just little 80s humor there. But, I mean, how long did you have to pursue this property here?
Pursuing it to buy it was a hot minute, but then once I got it bought, it was interesting because it was on a 20-year PUD. You know what a PUD is? Planned Urban Development, and the Woodland Hills Mall, the people that had developed that had all the land around there. Well, it was outside the 20-year PUD, so I just had to go by the city codes. So the city codes were different than the codes for the PUD, the Planned Urban Development. And I remember when I was building, the manager of the mall came running out there with security, trying to shut down my team that was building. And they said, "What are you doing? We haven't approved this building. We don't know what's going on. You got to come through us first." And he said, "Hey, listen, I don't know. I've got a work permit here from the city. I've been paid money to do this. And if you don't move, I'm going to take this backhoe and grab you and get that dirt underneath you." And they jump back, and they kept going. So then I get the call. And he's hot as a wet cat at the time. This was,
Wet cats are hot. I know.
I know. Wet cats are hot.
I know from firsthand experience.
There we go. This just in.
Write that down.
And so he calls me in the first 5 minutes of the conversation. Is him just letting me have it. I mean, just letting me have it. He finally stopped, and I said, "Sir, that PUD was done, in X year." And he goes, PUD. He goes, "Yeah, I know." I go, "That's 25 years ago. That expired." pause.
What you talking about?
I said you ought to maybe call your attorney and find out what's valid or not valid. But I've got all my permitting from the city, and I'm rocking on with this thing. And I said, in fact, I even built my outside to kind of mimic the mall. I had you've got some neon that goes around yours. I got some neon that goes around mine. I have the top portion of it. I'm trying to think of the fancy word.
Kendall, if you look at it,
it's
with the camera,
you can see that.
Yes. That mirrors the mall.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does.
I mean.
It feels like the mall.
I'm
looking at it right now on the big screen. And one thing,
go right to the front. Go to the front.
Kendall, if you zoom out real quick here, notice Z's passion for Gary Coleman.
I know it's
really impressive.
It's almost disturbing. I know. It's like
you love Gary Coleman.
I mean, who doesn't?
Who puts a banner of Gary Coleman on the side of their building?
I mean, it's incredible.
Was he even running for office?
That's a
okay.
There we go.
There's
the front of it.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's like a staycation. I just want to go there and get glasses.
Well, why wouldn't you?
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
So again,
drive through.
As you think about the steps here, so one, you have got to write down the vision.
Right.
And Mayor Craig, have you ever thought to yourself, I feel like I've said this before, but I'm going to try again. I want to make Broken Arrow a place where families want to live, a great place. I mean, how many times have you said something how many times have you said this phrase or something similar to this as you've been articulating this vision for 8 years?
Well, I think we've said it a lot, and I think our management team though understands it now. Our city manager and their team understands it, and he's got that vision throughout the whole community. Where individually, people, their job is for customer service is to provide good customer service and treat people like customers, and so it's that's not always how cities treat people. So I think the vision is really, I've said it lots of times, but I do think that it's gone. Management understands it, the management team understands it, and so does employees.
So let's think about this again. Step one, you must write down the vision.
Right.
Step two, you have to relentlessly drive the vision home. See, Jack Welch, Captain Jack says, good business leaders create a vision. They articulate the vision, passionately own the vision, and relentlessly drive it to completion. I can't just say Gary Coleman 4 times on the show.
You can't.
I've got to say Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman, Gary Coleman. I got to start ending sentences. Otherwise, some people are going to get off this show and go, what was that guy's name?
Some people are actually going to think that banner was for Gary Coleman. That's what's so funny.
Why is it not?
Well, it wasn't. It was a gentleman that was running for office at the time. His last name happened to be Coleman.
What?
I know.
Okay,
I know.
we'll move on.
I know.
So now, point 3, you got to bring the joy and the passion and a win-win spirit, because as you could see in that video with Steve Jobs, where he's sitting there talking to a guy who wants to know about safety. Now, again, it's a huge corporate office. The plans are going to be created up to code, up to standard. The guy, Steve Jobs, is about ready to die. A lot of people don't know this. Steve was speaking up until just days and weeks before he died. He just kept going because he knew that if he didn't get it completed, it would not get done.
Right.
Because he was a great communicator, and he'd worked on it for years. He mastered rhetoric. You notice how he came in there not hot and bothered, but he came in with that joy, that passion to create a win-win spirit. How do you do that when you are talking to somebody who's out of their mind? When somebody, what kind of people come to address the city council? Do you have people that are upset about the covenants of their HOA, or somebody who wants to ban, smoking, or somebody who wants to ban women pushing strollers? Do you have people that a lot of times want to come to the city to get more laws passed? Do you see a lot of that or no? Or?
We don't see a lot of that. What we see a lot of is, if we have something on the agenda like multifamily, like apartments, we get a lot of protesters that come and say they don't want apartments. Or, when we had someone trying to start a casino in our area, that had a lot of protesters. And a lot of times zoning issues where we're trying to zone some land where someone doesn't want to start a business next to them because they've lived there for a lot of years. They were there first. So you hear the same thing over and over again. You hear, it's going to cause traffic, it's going to cause flooding, it's going to crowd our schools, whatever. You hear that over and over again from everyone says the same thing. So we have a policy in our community where you have 3 minutes to speak and you don't say the same thing someone else has spoken. As said.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. You have 3 minutes and you get shut off. And you got to sit down.
That's the policy.
That's the policy.
Are you in favor of a casino?
No.
So why not?
Well, the casinos that we get in our community are small casinos, and they don't really they cannibalize other casinos, the larger casinos, but they don't really bring a lot of infrastructure to the community or a lot of sales tax, which we run on sales tax. Their casino land is always exempt from. They're in Oklahoma. We're the only state in the United States that there's not reservations. So any land that the casino tribe buys happens to be sovereign land, and we can't even go on that land and put out a fire. We had a case where some Indian land caught on fire, and we couldn't put it out. We had to watch it burn because we don't have the right to trespass on their land. It's like having, as I say, a little bit of Mexico in the middle of your community, and so it's another country. So you really
I want to fight back for a second.
Okay.
I want to protest. Can I protest? Steve?
Absolutely.
I am also opposed to casinos, but I will tell you why. But I want to take the devil's advocate for a second because Satan needs an advocate. So here's the thing: is you have these casinos, and I like casinos. If I owned a casino, I would like it because it really is, as a general rule, a dumb tax. Because I've gone to this Duck Creek. There's a gas station over here, and we had one of our employees. We were driving through Okmulgee, that area.
Yes.
And he says, "Hey, can we?" This is when I owned it was the photography company. He says, "Can I go in here into the little casino?" Now, at what point? How
it's
big?
out there by my ranch. Actually.
How big does something have to be in your mind for it to be a casino? In your mind, is this Duck Creek a casino?
It is.
Well, nowadays it was just a trailer to start off with. Now it's actually.
But he wanted to go when it was a trailer.
A trailer can be a casino. Yes. Anything that has gaming in it is a casino.
And this is a guy who literally was in a bad spot financially. I know this because I hired him when he was a fast food worker.
Sure.
I was going through the drive-through window. I heard his voice. I said, "Oh, I got to hire you." So I hired him. And he would always, despite earning almost six figures, he would almost always be down to his last $5. So he says, "Hey, can we pull over at the casino, on the way to Okmulgee?" I said, No, we're not going to. So we're going through Okmulgee. I stopped to get gas. He switches to a different vehicle. Long story short, he's with the other guys. The other guys, I noticed they pull over.
Mm-hmm.
So we get down to Dallas for the bridal show, and he says, "Can I borrow 20?" And I'm like, "For what?" I just need some money, just some some food for tonight, for some food, And I'm like, I'm pretty positive on the checklist, all of you guys had cash. We talked about this. I feel like we did. And he's like, "Well, I just, I had the hot hand." Now, what's crazy is he thinks he somehow believes that this isn't a game of skill. The machine that goes ding 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 ding. I have a very good friend of mine who I used to go to church with, who worked in this industry and got out of it because he said he just couldn't handle it. But his job was there's a mathematical formula, Z, where you have to. I'm not sure the number, but it's like per 1,000 times somebody hits the button, ding 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 ding. There's a certain amount of payouts that has to happen. And so this guy, this employee, he literally would say, "I've got the hot hand." Now, again, this is a machine it's put in a certain mathematical certainty what percentage of the time it will pay out. Do you know what percentage, Mayor Craig, it pays out?
I don't know. I think they're different.
So the guy I went to church with, he said, I used to work there at this casino, and what they would do is that they have to get a certain amount of payouts. And so what you do is you can kind of choose the time and the place of when it goes out, because it's a machine.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you do is you start off early on like a Friday, ding, 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 and then the people go, "Oh, those machines are hot." And the rumors spread. And then what they do is they give you free alcoholic beverages if you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a card that's hooked up to your credit card. So you take your credit card. Now, this is a guy who doesn't have $20. He takes his debit card. You hook it up, and then you get to keep going. And ding, 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 and they bring you adult beverages. Now, when you have an adult beverage, Mayor Craig, does it impede your ability to use sound judgment in your mind from what you know?
I think so, yes.
So then if you go there, you see usually chain smokers who have oxygen tanks hooked up to them. Have you seen this, Charles?
Oh, yeah.
While they're smoking, and they're going, "This game's great. I love this game. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, this game is great. People with stomas, people with oxygen masks, smoking, and all of the people who are on the billboard sign, there's beautiful women and men on the sign. They say, where everyone's a winner, come to this casino, come to this metal shed where everyone's a winner. And then I've noticed that the people who are in the shed are not the people who are on the billboard. So you go in there and you're like, where's all the beautiful people?
Where are
all the and these aren't games of skill. See, what are games of skill where you actually have to use your mind and you maybe would increase your chances of winning? Like, what are games where you actually have to use your brain?
Like chess.
Chess. What are games in a casino where you have to use your mind? I don't do casinos, but what are the games like where you have to use a little bit of skill to win?
Probably blackjack.
Well, I think blackjack. You got to be able to actually count to 21 and understand that what the randomness of the deck may unveil the next time out. So
back to my buddy. He's working at this. He goes to church with me, and he's telling me this. He's telling me this kind of cognitive dissonance he has, and he says, "My job is he programs the machines. There's a certain. Do you know the percentage you're supposed to pay out of these machines? It's like per $1,000 in. There's a certain.
Each state has a different range that you're allowed to legally." And so they could go up to the max or the minimum of that. There's a range that they're allowed to be in.
But it's kind of like the game of like, hey, Z, if you give me $5, I'll give you one. That's kind of the game.
Yeah, I was one time walking through a casino in Vegas. Yeah. I was there for a conference, and they had over some slots that said 98%. And I thought, oh, that's great. You give them $1, they'll give you 98 cents. Sounds like fun. I mean, that's
So this guy though, he's
like, what?
So I'm not kidding though. So we go to the bridal show. I give him 20. I sit him down. I said, bud, hey. He's got kids. And I'm like, dude, you've been on my payroll for 3 or 4 years now. I know you're making it many times. You're making $75,000. You've had years where can I ask, when are you going to stop? And he's like, well, I was on fire, dude. I got 8 Gs the other day. I'm like, what? And so what I find is when you go and you do an exit poll, a lot of times it's a great way to exit poll is you stand in front of the casino. I recommend you do this. You'll get kicked out real fast. But you stand out there and ask people, are you successful? And usually you don't get a lot of yeses in there. You just don't see a lot. So I find that it takes the little money that poor people have, and it allows them to spend it, and they get nothing in exchange for it. Mm-hmm. They don't even get like a long movie. They don't even get like a trip out of it. They don't even get like they're just ding, 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 ding. Oh, this game is great. Give me another cranberry vodka. And they just serve them drinks. And then the waitresses, see, if you notice some of these ones, the waitresses are wearing like the hot woman clothes, but they're 60.
Yeah, but they shouldn't.
Have you seen that? Like it's just a whole. So the whole thing. I don't see a lot of winners being attracted to casinos. Does that play into your judgment at all about that? Does it bother you, the poverty it causes, or do you not think about that?
Well, I think that for one, people get addicted to it, to gambling, and also the poverty that it causes. And as a lot of people will say, there's no one in the casino that can afford to be there. I've gone to some music shows in different casinos, and you walk through and you see those people, and as you said, as people smoking cigarettes and putting their last dollar in that casino, in those machines, and it really doesn't pay out. I mean, and I saw a interview with Steve Wynn a few years ago in Vegas, and the interviewer was asking him, well, people do win occasionally. He goes, no one ever wins here. He says, you think we build these big hotels with anyone winning? He says, the house always wins. He said,
True.
And if they do win, they put the money back in. He goes, no one leaves here with any money. He said, everyone spends every dime they bring.
Tillman Fertitta, who we've had on the Tillman Thrive Time show. Tillman Fertitta, the Houston Rockets owner, who reached out to us about being on the show, and we're in the process of getting him on the schedule, I should say. But he's reached out to us to be on the show. He bought casinos, the Golden Nugget casinos.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, dude, his net worth has skyrocketed.
Skyrocketed. A buddy of mine went into a casino the other day, and he said, man, I sure hope I break even. The family sure could use the money.
I mean, and so you have this guy who worked for me. He would literally say, I'm not kidding. And he said, Clay, I've got the hot hand. And I'm going, can we talk? We sat down one-on-one after the bridal show. I sit down and I said, you don't have the hot hand. And I know the guy, if you want to meet him, I know a guy who I know very well who is quitting his job in this industry because he feels so bad because they watch cameras now and they have certain moves that are designed to get you fired up. So if no one's winning over here on this row, they'll watch the cameras like it's NASA. You see all the screens, and they'll go hit it. And they go, and ding, 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 ding. And all of a sudden there's a winner over here. Be like, and everyone's fired up for a good hour. And see, people are just putting money in.
Fired up.
So they watch when people stop playing because people think, oh, I got the hot hand. Oh, they're hot over there. They're hotter over here. Marco Polo. Oh, they're hot. And they travel around the casino looking for the hot hand. And what they do is they just give away $100 in coins, and people start freaking out. Charles, you had a hot take on this.
We trained a manager for a couple years. That he was the manager of a casino. I'm not going to disclose where. Yeah. But they run 5 truckloads of money. They make a bank. And then I'm friends with a banker in that area. And he says, since the casino opened, overdrafts and charges are just insane.
Yeah.
So it definitely hurt the community as a whole from the financial institution. They saw it
Brutal
in the numbers, and then also the manager, he actually quit working for it because they would rather pay the fines and make the major revenue because they were killing it.
I saw John Legend
so,
in concert
yeah.
at what's Thackerville, the world's largest casino, they always say. Thackerville, I saw John Legend there. Concert was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And Z, when you took Vanessa and I to see Steve Martin, you put us up in a nice hotel suite.
Yeah.
And we went to the one in Thackerville, maybe we just stayed in the wrong one. We were in a very, very nice room. And the smoke in the Legend concert was like, my eyes were like water. It was crazy.
Burning, huh?
Yeah, and I was almost like unable to focus on his sweet melodic R&B stylings. And I almost found myself I was just like, I thought I got lung cancer there. It was crazy. So step 4, though, as we're casting this vision, we got to stay focused on the vision. So once you have the vision, once you've written down the vision, once you've relentlessly driven the vision, once you've created this win-win, you as a mayor have to stay focused.
Yes.
Which is why I'm a little bit worried if you don't get reelected. And I live in Broken Arrow, and my opinion probably doesn't matter to most people. But let's talk about this. Staying focused. I see a lot of people with the idea of the week.
Right.
I see this in government, too, an idea of the week. Here's a new idea this week. Z, here's another idea.
Just another one.
Here's another vision. Talk to me about how do you stay focused? Or are you staying focused? Or what does that look like in your world?
Well, I think that, just so many years of doing this and so many years of learning, I really like to learn about government and learning what we need to do. So when you first step in, you don't really know. The first couple of years, you don't really know what to do. But then after time, you start learning what to do. And that's how you stay focused is you know what the next issue is. Our next issue is the innovation district we're trying to do.
The innovation district.
Innovation district. And we have, but we've got to start, we're already thinking about, well, what's after the innovation district? And we've worked on it for 5 years. It's gonna happen in the next couple of years. We'll get it going. Then what do we do next?
What's coming down the pike right now that's really hot, that's kind of near term? That's kind of like in the next 4 months or 5 months, we'll see it done. I mean, we'll see it completed.
I think probably the biggest thing you're going to see done is the Milestone project in the Rose District.
The Milestone project.
Yes, it's 95 apartments and 30,000 square feet of retail. And I understand they have 4 letters of intent for restaurants already. They're going to try to get about 6 restaurants in there and have some retail on the bottom. But it's really a nice project, and it'll be an anchor on the north end of our Rose District.
I want Z at some point. You have to create some sort of swanky rooftop restaurant thing. You have to do that.
I have to.
Because you're connected with so many great business leaders in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Politicians, people who you've worked with and built these relationships over the years. Do you ever have a desire to want to do that?
Well,
you ever thought about it?
The restaurant business is a challenging business, and for a number of reasons,
Yeah.
and it's a very time-consuming business. So it's
Probably not on your list.
it can be, but the idea
What
that
if
you
it's like
have
a speakeasy?
some.
How about this? What if it's like I go to speakeasy, okay?
Okay, cool.
And you pay $100 a month to go, and you can't go unless you're approved, and it's just business guys. So it's like a cool atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
Only guys like Charles Kola would be up in there.
Could we have an elephant in the room in the back?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be cool.
Like $100 a month, you can come. Wouldn't that be cool?
It'd be cool.
Would you do that?
It'd be cool. Yeah.
Okay. So now let's talk about this though. Staying focused. Z, you've met a lot of politicians. You're friends with Jim
Yes.
Bridenstine, who's the head of NASA.
Yeah.
You've met a lot of people that wanted to be
Yes,
politicians
I
but
ha-
couldn't
yes.
stay focused.
Yes, I have.
Why is it so impressive that Mayor Craig has stayed focused on this vision for 8 years? And by the way, he doesn't get paid, right, Mayor?
Right. Do not get paid.
Why in your mind is that so impressive? Because to me, it just blows my mind away that A, you're staying focused, but then I would think, well, you're probably making a lot of money on it, but you're not. Why in your mind is that like such a rare thing?
Well, I mean, we talked to the show previous to this. If you missed it, you can go back and catch on another podcast, or if these are a continuation of that one, I'm not sure how you're going to edit it. But
Yeah.
the idea is that a lot of people start a business. In other words, a lot of people start an idea. They start something and go, you know what? This is a good idea. This is what I'm going to put my energy into. This is what I'm going to put my focus into. And we know that a small percentage of them are successful. It's unfortunate, and that's why we're doing the show, because we want to help you not only start the business, but keep it going. And a lot of that is your focus and your dedication to what it is that you've chosen to do. And when you see a guy like Mayor Craig, who has done that now for 8 years and been successful as a track record, you judge a tree by its fruit. And there's a lot of fruit in Broken Arrow right now. If you drove through here 10 years ago, a decade ago, versus driving through it today, you'd go, is this the same town? You know, they have a lot of stuff on, not only that has happened, but a lot of stuff that is going to happen. And I really applaud the mayor, and I applaud the team here in Broken Arrow that you guys have started something. And not only did you start it, because starting something like we talked about in the show before happens a lot.
People love to start
following through with it, making sure it happens. It's like, we don't have a Bass Pro Shop, but we started the process. We don't have a Warren Theater, but I called him. I went to Wichita and talked to him.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people start
Results.
something. So I love to see fruit, because fruit means good things are happening. And the fact that you're doing this job and you're getting, I know you're getting paid for it, and the payment you're getting is just the pride in your city and seeing people around you go, thank you. And that is a payment in and of itself. But no monetary payment is kind of unheard of for a guy to work as hard as you're doing, accomplish what you're doing. So I tip my hat to you guys, and hopefully the people of the city will see that and recognize that and want your input and vision to continue. And so that's kind of what's different a little bit. I mean, it is and it isn't. Like when I start a business, people vote by coming and doing money with me.
Right. Yep.
They actually literally vote.
Right.
So it's a little bit different, but yet it's the same. Right. So you got to continue to always bring your best, to always continue to move the ball down the field. Just like us. I mean, we have a bad year and we're rude to people and we don't do what we want to do. That business will be hard to keep open. So I think it's a good thing. It's a healthy thing. And keep going. Keep rolling.
So point 5,
keep
Z,
doing.
Z, you almost stole a little bit of my thunder. You said
sorry.
keep going.
Oh, sorry.
Point 5 is don't quit until you get there.
Don't quit till you get there. That's good.
I want to talk about this. Where is there for you? And when are you going to quit? Is this one more term?
I'm thinking one more term. It's kind of like rolling a rock up the hill. And, you don't want to let that rock go because it's going to roll down on top of you. And so we've been rolling that rock for a lot of years. I've been rolling it for a lot of years. And, as we get elected, we think about, I've been on the council now for 19 years.
Wow.
We're elected to city council, and then the council elects the mayor and the vice mayor. So it's, I'll run for re-election to city council one more time. But we still have a few things we want to do. I want to get the innovation district done. There's some other things we want to get started. We want to finish downtown. It doesn't happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight.
When can we vote? If I want to vote, I want to put it on my phone right now. I want to put it on my calendar. I want to mark the calendar if I live in the Broken Arrow. When can we vote?
April 6, 2021.
When?
April 6th.
April 6th.
First Tuesday in April, April 6th, 2021. Yes.
Hey, look at Kendall. Vote April 20. April what again? 20.
April 6th.
April 6th, 2020. Juan. There it is. Z, I think there's somebody out there that says, okay, that's great. I live in Broken Arrow. I've benefited from the success of it, but I might not be available to vote.
I could be busy.
I could be doing things. Why does everybody have to get out there and vote? If you like the direction Broken Arrow's going, why do you got to do that? Why is it just a smart move? Why is it a really kind of a discourteous, kind of a stupid, kind of a wasted thing to not get out there and vote?
It's a shame when you hear how many people live in a city and then you cross-check that with how many people vote.
Right.
It's really a shame. I mean, people should take some pride in their city. They should be excited about the direction of the city and realize that that's not a mistake. That just doesn't happen. Bass Pro, Warren Theater, all the things that are happening.
So much better here
the
now.
Rose District
evolving
the way that it has. Those things just don't happen. They have to have men and women behind the vision, driving and pushing and doing all the points you talked about on the show, Clay, and doing it with excellence. Not just doing it, but doing it with excellence. And so if you care at all about the place you live, and you should because you live there, then it's kind of like taking care of your yard. I mean, how many people are like, I don't want to mow it or plant flowers because, what's the big deal? I don't care. I mean, you should care. And caring means getting out and spending. It doesn't take long to vote. Trust me. It doesn't take long. 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 at the most. If there's a little bit of a line, go in, make a vote, make your voice heard and say, you know what? I give my stamp of approval, the direction that we're going. I want it to continue to go that way because, hey, as the city gets better, it helps everything. It helps your property value. It helps if you're a business owner in the area.
Absolutely.
It helps everything. It gives you better streets. It gives you better police. It gives you better fire department. It gives you better doctors. It just gives you better everything. And so take the time to vote. I mean, care. At least care a little bit, please.
I think people may be tired of winning. I think people are just tired of winning. Let me cue up this audio clip. This is maybe what's happening. People who aren't voting. This is what's happening. Let me cue it up.
Could be.
This just in.
Broadcasting live from the center of the universe. It's Business School without the BS.
We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
That's what's going on.
They're tired of winning.
You say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's
Mr. Mayor.
much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
That's what's going on.
You think? Is that
people
what's
are tired of winning.
You think they are?
I mean, what things has Broken Arrow won in the last 8 years? I mean, aren't we now one of the fastest growing in the state? Give us some awards.
We're the second fastest growing city after Oklahoma City, which is 660,000. So in actual numbers, we're the second fastest growing. We won an award for the Rose District being the most livable city.
Cool.
In the whole country. We actually got Wallet Hub named us in 2018 the best place for first-time home buyers to buy a house. The affordability that we have here, we just won a lot of different things. And a lot of people don't realize that the state and federal government really don't impact your life every day like local government does.
Right.
Local government impacts your life every day. Every toilet you flush, every time you turn on your tap and you get water.
Yep.
When you need to call 911 or you need help, the city sends the people to help, not the federal or state government. And when you need infrastructure, you need streets. All that is done by the city government. So it's important that we continue to do the things, and through the sales tax dollars is how we're able to do that.
Mayor Craig, we appreciate you so much for joining us. For anybody out there who's not super familiar with you, is there a place people can learn more about you, or where do you recommend people go to maybe learn more? Should we go to the City of Broken Arrow website, or where should we go?
City website. There's also I have a Reelect Facebook page that's coming out soon.
Cool.
And a website that's coming out soon. That's going to be Mayor Craig Thurmond. That's where people want to go and find out about what we're doing.
You are a great American. Thank you for all you do, and let's end this thing with a boom. Z, are you prepared to end with a boom?
Let's do it.
Charles Kolar, are you prepared to end with a boom?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Craig, are you prepared to end with a boom?
Yes.
I want to use a megaphone to make it more classy. That's
one thing you are is classy. I'll tell you that.
That's one thing you do.
There's one thing.
If you're going out to this weekend or tonight to a great date place in the Rose District, you're going to go to like the Rooftop or in the Raw or Andolini's. You want to walk up to the bartender or the server and you say, "Hey, it's just us. We're the last people here. Can you turn down the lights a little bit?" And they'll go, "Yeah, I can do it." And you say, "Okay." And then what you want to do is you want to look around and you want to get out your megaphone.
Of course.
And you want to say to your loved one, you want to say, "Vote Mayor Craig Thurmond."
And
there's just something romantic about "Vote Mayor Craig Thurmond." And they might say, out of context, "Why are you saying this to me?" Or "Where did you get that megaphone?"
Green brulee? I'm not catching what you're saying.
And you're going to say, "My classiness comes from this megaphone." And then people are going to go, you're going to find that people are going to be drawn to you.
Oh, yeah.
People will want to come talk to you and give you some of their feedback about you bringing the megaphone to the restaurant. It's a law of attraction.
It's always positive feedback, too.
It's always positive. Just try it out.
Real edifying positive.
Bring it to church. Yeah. Do your prayer request. They say, "Does anyone have a prayer request?" "Pastor, I have some sin in my life." And if you do that just subtly.
Yeah, I have a rash I need healing on.
It's one of the better ways
to get that message out there.
To connect. All right, let's end this thing with a boom. Here we go.
Ready?
3, 2, 1, boom!